Today's show is brought to you by Martinez Drywall. Around here, you don't gamble on who's going to finish your project. You go with a proven team. Martinez Drywall has built their reputation on reliability, craftsmanship, and a promise that they'll always make it right for the customer. From remodels to new constructions, they've got you covered. Martinez Drywall, where the house always wins, and so do you.
Extraordinary ones, firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Breaking it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. From sirens wailing to keys softly chiming, to inspire the moments we're finding. Ooh, from the mundane to the sublime, we unwind. Oh, what makes them tick? What's on their mind? Diving deep into lives, the extraordinary ones. Firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Breaking it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. On those who dare to live life a little differently. Each episode a new discovery. Unearthing lives full of mystery. The Break It Down podcast, coming at you strong. Tune in each week, let's break it down all episode long. The Break It Down podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of the Break It Down podcast. My name is Mathew Hansen, and today we have a very special guest. He is well known for being on the radio, Tim Burns. Tim, how you doing?
There was a time when I was, but yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I was like, I know what, I'm gonna need somebody who's been on the radio for, to be honest, longer than I've been alive. Being completely clear. And I'm like, you know what, Tim's gonna be the guy. I'm gonna get a hold of Tim. So first off, Tim, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a musician. I'm a creator. I've always, since I've been a little kid, my mom would put me in a room with whatever, blocks and pieces of paper, and I'd just create. I play piano. I was a piano major in college. I play pipe organ in church here to this day. I did low brass instrument. I was going to become a band director when I went to college, but I had already started in radio. Literally, when I left high school, I started at a radio station in my hometown of Mitchell, South Dakota, home of the Corn Palace. And by the time I got to college up in Fargo-Moorhead, working at Q98, playing Bon Jovi and Journey and Def Leppard, like, this is cool, you know. And the band director thing went left, and I went right, and didn't stop from there. I lived in Fargo-Moorhead, Charleston, South Carolina, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Manchester, New Hampshire, Montevideo until about 10 years ago when I moved to Wilmer. Married. My wife and I have 4 grown children between us, and we have 2 wiener dogs that I understand we've been caught walking in your neighborhood.
You have. So you said right out of high school you joined radio. What got you intrigued into radio?
When my 5th grade class did a little road trip, well, a day trip to the radio station. So I was 10. And that's the one in Mitchell where I started. not when I was 10. But so the class was in a conference room next to the studio. We're watching what's going on. And then the announcer said, hey, we want one student to come in and we're going to chat live. And everybody vote on who that should be. And all fingers pointed to me. So I went and I got interviewed, and I remember distinctly him saying, what's been your favorite part of the radio station tour? And I'm like, right here in this studio with all the gadgets and the microphones. So maybe 11 years old, but fifth grade. And so only about 6 more years later, my brother had actually started working there. He was a little older than me. And he's like, hey, they need part-time help. And I dove right in. And the AM where I worked would shut off at midnight, with the national anthem. But the FM went till 2 a.m. playing all of hit rock and roll music. So I had to stay there and wait for 2 hours for that thing to shut down. I went into the studio and I created fake movie trailers. And that's where I honed my production skills and creative. Just like I'd spend those 2 hours creating for the fun of it. And then went to college and started working at Q98. That history I kind of touched on. So, yeah, I was just working part-time at KORN and the home of the Corn Palace.
So 29 years in radio. What was one of the most important things you've learned from being in radio?
Well, quick question. 41 years total, 29 here at
My bad.
A local radio station that used to exist. What's the biggest thing I've learned, like, from radio? Or from being in radio? Oh, gosh. It's never been about me. I came to learn very early on that I was just a part of people's lives, routines. And that became very apparent when my sudden booting to the curb like an old rug happened almost 2 years ago. And the numbers of people, when I'd be driving to work, I knew I could count on you to just whatever mood I was in, you were always happy and real. You're always real. Or the time I felt bad because of this, or somebody died, and or when the national tragedies happened. I mean, man, I was on the air for the space shuttle, 2 space shuttle crashes, 9/11, the Oklahoma City bombing, Waco, and people just said, you were the one that we heard it from, and we knew we could trust you. And when I meet people out and about still today that are just like, oh my God, Tim, we listen to you all the time. I'm just like, well, I really appreciate that. Who are you? Where are you from? I always, because I want to know more about them. I'm a little uncomfortable with the, oh my gosh, Tim, I went to the Buck Cherry concert at Prairie's Edge back in May. There were 5 or 6 people who wanted to take my picture still. I had been off the air for almost a year and a half. And it's about people and relationships and connecting, and never just about me. I never I want to be a star. I was a shy, quiet kid in junior high. My brother used to make fun of me because he'd say, oh, you always talk like this. I showed him.
But so how does a shy kid just get so involved with creating music, creating stuff on the air?
Well, since you brought that up, there's a moment I remember happening. So I went from Fargo Moorhead, I don't know, at the time where there were nearly 200,000 people between the two cities. That was, from Mitchell, about 17,000 people, to a market of a couple 100,000, and then to Charleston, South Carolina was a metro at the time of 900,000, nearly 1 million. And all of a sudden, we're this new rock station that everybody is adoring and going out in public. And we went to an event. This is the moment. And my program director said, you got to go in and you got to own the room and you just got to go up to people and say hi and introduce yourself. Normally, in a big crowded room, I would have been like, well, I'll just sit over the corner here. I'll sip a beer. But when he said, you just have to do it, you've got to go and engage with people. And, the first few times it was kind of scary, but then I realized it's not that hard to just engage, say, hey, what's up? I work with a radio station. Who are you? What do you do? And now I am unafraid of speaking in front of crowds, whatever. Give me the mic. Actually, I still announce a lot of the shows down at Prairie's Edge, and get up on the stage, and people are like, I don't know how I couldn't stand up in front of all those people. I'm like, bring it on. I love it.
Were you ever in like theater at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I got my stuff over, was like I was in theater for a couple years, and that whole stage fright, once you perform in front of a big crowd, that stage fright goes away. You're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. And you feel it. Well, yeah. I mean, I did all of the plays and the musicals in high school. And then of course I played in band, jazz band. I sang in choir, jazz choir, and all of those things. Did performances in front of people. So yeah, I was always music and theater. Somehow managed to fit in a few years of track. Turns out I was a pretty good sprinter. Yeah, I mean, who knew? The music nerd is a pretty good fast runner. He was back in the day. And then, I when I was in Montevideo in the 90s, they kind of got a little community theater group going there, and I did a couple of plays. I directed a couple of the plays. I just played keyboards in the Barnes Young Frankenstein. And breaking news, I'm going to be the music vocal director for their December musical, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Whoa, I think this would be the first time I can actually break some news on the show.
Oh, yeah?
So I appreciate that.
I haven't even told some of my friends, so.
Perfect. Well, that's great. I'm glad I can break some news with you on this. So awesome. Thanks. As a director, what challenges did you have when you were directing in Montevideo? Like for the play, like how did you decide, okay, this person's going to get this part? Because back when I was younger, my mom and dad did directing as well, and I could see their stress on it as well. So what kind of, how did you handle that stress as a director?
I think being in bands and orchestras and choirs, and then I also directed the Montevideo Barbershop Chorus. I co-directed when Wilmer and Montevideo Barbershop were combined, I co-directed. I direct the Vinci Choir. I think for whatever reason, I have this big picture ability, including like when I'm doing a commercial, and I still produce commercials, and I do promos for a network of news stations out of Wisconsin. I was working on that right before we talked. So even on my screen, there's individual voices, there's music, sound effects. So each individual piece doesn't make sense, but in the big picture, I know that this sound effect is going to fit the big picture. So I think that fit with directing too, whether it's deciding who's going to go with it. First of all, just recognizing that they can talk and or sing, depending if it's a musical. And then just being able to visualize the big picture. Like I'm a band director, basically a choral director. And when I did the radio show in the mornings, usually with at least one extra person, plus a news, plus a sports, I I didn't see myself as, the star, or I was always a co-host. But I used to say, this is like being the band director. You've got your part to play. You've got your part to play. I've got my part to play. But somebody has to tell us what song, and somebody has to tell us when to go and when to stop. And so I was like the band director of the morning show. The band director isn't the star. It's whoever's playing the trumpet solo at the time or whatever,
Yeah. Huh. I actually
Yeah.
never thought about it that way.
Well, I hadn't really either until it kind of came up. There was a time when we were looking at revamping the show, and well, whose role is what? I'm like, everybody's got a different role. I'm just going to be standing here at the controls, saying go, or stop, or we're moving on next. Like this thing.
Since we brought it up, do you want to talk about what happened 2 years ago?
No,
Oh, okay.
I didn't say anything. I mean, if you want the full story, there's a video that I did a few days after the incident that, I mean, the last time I looked, which has been a long time, was about 225,000 views.
Jeez.
I had a feeling there'd be a buzz. I thought, oh gosh, this will probably get 25,000 views. I'll try to summarize. Lakeland Broadcasting had been in the Linder family since the 40s. His grandfather started it, and then his father, and then he took it. Heck, a lot of us were encouraging Steve, the most recent owner, for nearly 10 years. Steve, you ought to retire. You've worked your whole life. You should retire, sell the station. So then when he finally decided he would, which would have been late to 2023, it was to an outfit that he had done business with the patriarch of this business. They had other stations in southern Minnesota, so it wasn't like a national conglomerate. We all thought, well, they're somewhat local. Steve knows the owner. They've done business in other ways over the years. This could be a good thing, And so everybody had to do an interview because they were going to be a new entity, right?
Yeah.
Lakeland Broadcasting ended. Well, it would at 5 p.m. on that January 16th. And then at 5:01 p.m., the new company takes over. They get to decide, well, we've had interviews. They said, it's just a formality. We know who you are, but we have to go through and do the interview and do the backgrounds. And they came, I don't know, Christmas time, just raving about what a well-oiled machine we were, and all of their other stations could learn from what we're doing. We're a bunch of pros, and why would we change any of that? We're not going to touch anything. So at 5:01 and a half on that January 16th.
And a half?
Literally. It was not 5:02. They called me at home. Because I'd work from like 5:30 till 2:30. And they said, hey, you signed the paperwork. We are now on the radio station. I'm like, oh, congratulations. All right. And we're not onboarding with you. I'm like, what? No, we're not hiring you. And then my biggest regret is not responding to this that they said. We don't need to get into the why. Because I was just like stunned. It was the first time in my life, except maybe junior high, that I was speechless. Like, oh, what? We don't need to get into the why. And then they're like, so we know you've been here a long time. You can go get your stuff tomorrow, get your stuff out of the station. And that now I'm starting to fume in anger. And I just wanted to get off the phone. And I said very sarcastically, well, good luck. And I hung up. I regret not saying, no, let's get into the why.
Yeah.
In fact, if you don't want to do it right now, I'll head back to your new radio station and we'll talk about the why. Or meet me at the Green Mill. You're going to buy me a couple of beers and we'll talk about the why. That's what I wish. But because it was left so open, how do they take one of the most experienced, most able, most creative, and just go, well, we're not going to hire? I have my theories because longevity and talent is too expensive. But then, in the back of my head, I said, well, if it was about money, then why didn't they just say, hey, we'd love to keep you on, but there's no way we're going to be able to keep paying you what Steve did. This is what we're offering. That never was discussed. So I'm like, well, if it was about money, why wouldn't they just said that and tried to work out a thing? So then, I go to, well, is it about age? But that could get them in trouble, if they didn't choose me because of age. So the silence over it now kind of leans me over to that side. But so, a year and a half, it's just been this, I don't get it. And, just a deep anger and vicious hate of what they did. And yet, I'm so glad I'm not working for them. Thank God I'm not working for them. So there's, I've seen a counselor over all of this, if I'm being right with you, Matt, just because, people are like, dude, you're going to have to let it go. I'm like, I will never let it. And even the counselor, he grabbed a Kleenex box. He said, here's what they did and your hate over it. And he threw it across the room. And he's like, well, it's still over there, isn't it? It's still there. It's not going away. It's better. I'll go long stretches and I don't think about it. I run into the public, and my wife is struggling with this too. Why are people so insistent of reminding you of that crap? Like, oh, a year and a half later, I haven't seen you, but man, that sucked what they did. I go, yeah, it did. How's the new thing? How's the gig in real estate going? I'm like, well, it's been a rough year to be getting into real estate. This fall it's picked up, thankfully, because I just about bailed. But thank you. It's becoming a thing. Again, 42 years, my identity was in radio. That's what I get up and I just know how to do it and what to do. And that was just yanked from me. And, and then when they started buying other stations in town, where am I going to go? I'm not going to work for them. And they wouldn't have me, obviously. So we plan to stay here. My wife's got a great job. This is my community. It has been for 31 years. Even when I lived in Montevideo, I was driving back and forth. I worked here. So this was my second community. Yeah. There's sometimes that I hope I run into the new owners. My wife's like, no, avoid. I'm like, no, I would be very cool. And it probably would be at a restaurant or bar. I understand they stay in town sometimes. And every time I go into this certain one, I think, well, if they're there, I'm getting my phone out and I'm putting it in my pocket. I'm going to walk up, put my hand on their shoulder and tell the waitress, they're buying me a couple of beers. And we're going to have a little chat about the why. And I'm also going to say, how'd that work out for you? Because they did fine. They admitted to some people they didn't handle that well, and they heard about it. So good for them.
Would you, I know you said that they're buying other radio stations, but if there was another one available, would you apply for it?
Another?
Because you said they were buying other radio stations nearby. Would you, if another one opened up, say tomorrow, would you be like, I'm number one applicant?
That they own?
That they did not own.
Oh, well, there's one other, and I did chat with them. It seemed they were pretty set at the time. A little nepotism of their main guy and his old college buddy. Whatever. We're sticking with him. No. I have been looking, about voice tracking where we can do a show remotely and send. So another colleague of mine who, well, they asked him to do the morning show, and when he said he couldn't do it here, but he'd love to do it remote, and they said, "No, you got to be here. I got to get to school. My wife starts work early in the morning," and then he got shown the door as well. He's tracking for some stations in Wisconsin, and I just 2 weeks ago signed on to be their promotion voice and producer for a 10-station news network based out of Milwaukee.
Whoa.
And so I was working on some of that project for them today, right before we started here. I still write and produce for Prairie's Edge. I'm just realizing, though, that nationwide, there's very few of these Linder-type stations that are committed to the community and their people and aren't just trading stations like baseball cards. Fewer and fewer of those. And they're getting into AI. This station in question, like painfully obvious AI on commercials. But, they get an $18 subscription a month to get all of that free talent. Whatever. They're not fooling me anyway. So as I was still clinging to the hope of finding some radio, I realized a little analogy. Maybe you're too young to remember photographic film. You remember film?
Oh, that might be pushing the edge there a little bit.
Did you never use film in a camera?
Yeah, like then you have to run to Walmart, get it developed. Yes, that was like I was 7.
Okay,
so
that
yes.
makes sense. So there's infamously a story about somebody, I think they were at Kodak, that they went to the head of the company with an idea for a digital camera. They're like, "Are you crazy? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We sell film. You're digital. You're fired." Well, look what happened. Digital cameras bumped out film. So the point I'm getting to is I was an employee of Kodak Film. And then when I was let go, I wasn't onboarded is their word, I started looking for jobs at Fujifilm. Like, Tim, film is dead or dying. You see my analogy that's going on there? Like, everything is going digital. They're using AI in radio. What you knew as radio doesn't exist anymore. And then I try to cling to the fact that I got in on the best era of radio, the 80s and the 90s, when owners trusted programming to take chances, be crazy, as long as you kept making money. Managers came out of programming. Like on-air people and production people became managers, not salespeople. That's been the last 25 years. That's a different vibe. So when I get down, get low, get down again, I just think, I was part of some of the best era of radio. That doesn't exist anymore. There's some good stations. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be radio people. Hey, we're still. Yeah, there are some. And you can still get photographic film because a lot of photographers still like that purity, just like LPs over CDs. But to me, it's very much like film and radio are, the similar story of kind of clinging. Some aren't even trying. And what makes me emotional many times is I'll hear a song. I'm like, man, that was brand new when I was down in Charleston, South Carolina. Oh, those were the days. And every show that came to town, we got to go to the show. We'd have backstage passes. I got a whole photo wall of people that I've met and celebrities and, just learning the business. And then that turns to an anger that it has ended and a sadness that it has ended and an anger again that they caused that end. and then a relief. You know, there's so much over. That was my entire identity since leaving high school.
Even with that bad of an end, there's always probably a new beginning. You could always still get back into radio.
Well, you know, that's what I was just saying. What radio? What radio? Everybody's automating. You know, if I could get into some tracking, I would like to do that. And I think there's still a chance with this Wisconsin group because now I got a foot in. And some of the work I've done for them already has been absolutely first take. First, I sent it, here you go. Tell me what you think. Any of it. Love it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So they immediately know that I got the goods.
Mm-hmm.
And they can trust me to just get it done and even make some creative decisions on their behalf, where, you know, this new ownership didn't even give it a chance to, you know, like ask around what clients would like to work with me or who would clients like to work with in the studio to help produce their commercials at the time.
Do you think, in your opinion, that the world is more going towards like podcasts more than radio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. And anybody can do it now. But also, somebody said, "Well, you can do voice work," which I am to some extent. But I'm like, 10 years ago, my brother, even who was the one who started at KORN before me, he said, "I was thinking of trying to get back in. Maybe I could do voice work." I'm like, "Brother, there's now 200,000 people with a computer and a microphone that can do voice work, and about 20 of them making a living at it. Podcast, same. Anybody can do it, and that's a great voice. You know, there's probably millions are doing it. How many are making really good money at it? I think it's more than we're doing voice work, you know, with advertising. But percentage-wise, here's how many are doing it, and here's how much of that pie are really making money." So when I left, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to follow you. Do a podcast, Tim. Do a podcast." I'm like, well, first of all, I always liked doing a show with somebody, an interaction. If one of the co-hosts was gone, sick or something, you know, of course I can do it. I can get through, but I just didn't enjoy it as much. I like to bounce off and jest a little bit. Same with a podcast. You know, I don't see myself just sitting and going on and on. So that kind of went on and on. And should I, shouldn't I? And I just thought, okay, but that's going to take time, and that's great. And I'll bet I'd have gotten a pretty good following of people around here anyway. But that's not the end game. Like, that's not going to make up for the money I was making. I just know it. Could be fun. It could be beer money, but that's not going to be the thing. So I got to start thinking something else. Meanwhile, a year and a half has passed, and, you know, doing this with you, and there's another guy in town who immediately reached out to me. "Dude, we should do a podcast." He came on hot, and I didn't know him at the time. And I mean, it was explicit. "We should do an effing podcast, mother F." We would.
Whoa.
Kill it. I'm like, whoa, who's it? I've spent 42 years with a filter of not, you know, being able. I wouldn't mind going a little more R-rated, but I'm like, who is this guy? Well, then I meet him in person, and I go, I get his vibe, you know. And his girlfriend at the time, she's really cool. Like, we've become good friends now. So now he's on me. "Dude, we got to do this podcast." I'm like, well, who's gonna edit it? And who's got to take time?
You'll do most of it.
Right. He's, "Well, no, you can teach me. You know, I'll be your student. You can teach me how to do it." I'm like, well, how much time is that? And when are we going to record all of this? I haven't completely ruled it out because we're kind of thinking of going on some music stuff, you know, because when we're out at the brewery and a song comes on, we go, "What's this song really about?" And then we all have our silly ideas that it isn't what's obvious. And they're like, "Well, see, this would be our podcast." Oh, I think I have one for the classic Hotel California by the Eagles that I cannot reveal right now.
That's right.
But what I think it is about, the others are like, "What? You're crazy." I'm like, "You wait. If we do the podcast and it gets out there, Don Henley's going to go, 'You're right. You're the first to crack that vault. You can come to our next show, front row, and get backstage passes because that's my dream.'" Like, I've got a way out there thought about what Hotel California really means. Stay tuned just in case we get that crazy podcast going.
That's the thing is like when I've been doing this for on and off for 5 years, and I'm like, okay, now what are people going to be interested in, and like what are people going to listen to? Because and I am whatsoever not huge, I'm not like a Rogan or nothing like that. But what are people gonna listen to? So I'm not sure if you saw it, but we did a bracket on best ways to call out of work.
To do what?
A bracket on the best way to call out of work.
Call out of work, like calling sick?
Yeah,
Or
like
get out of work? Okay.
my cat died.
Yeah.
Got into a car accident.
Yeah. Well,
So there's
in my line of work, just calling and sounding like this, dude, I woke up with this weird throat stuff. Like, there's no way that worked for a radio guy. That works every time.
for radio. Yeah, I think that one worked pretty good. I know me and my wife Jasmine, we're doing the best hometown restaurant in Wilmer bracket.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we got 16. Well, there's some ones nearby. So like the Red Onion in Belgrade. There's some
Okay,
Wilmer
so
area
the
ones.
area then. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we've started that one.
Handlebar in Atwater.
Yep.
Love
There's
those.
which one? There's like Azteca. There's Frida's. I don't want to go too much more into it, but yeah, it's a just small town Wilmer, people visiting. What is everyone
That
going to look
stuff
for?
resonates with people. Problem that the sensitivity that we had on the radio, where we have advertisers and sponsors, if we start putting out there, oh, who's the best, and suddenly, one of our biggest advertisers at the bottom, like we don't want to start that fight.
Yeah.
We were a little sensitive to that, but yeah, and then imagine, going in every day, and really, a lot of the topics would stretch over a morning, but sometimes it's 5-minute topics 10 times over the morning. What are we going to talk about? And so, first of all, a program director taught me your life is your prep. So as I'm out of work, just doing stuff around, I would make notes there, send myself a text about something I saw funny at the grocery store or whatever, traffic. And another thing was, if you find it interesting, chances are a lot of people might find it interesting too. So I spent a year after going off the air continuing to do bits really on social media. Maybe you've seen some of those. Under the thinking tree with Tim. And then I did Monday morning updates and just silly sort of like what ifs, or it's a certain celebration day. It's National Peach Pie Day. Warm or cold? First of all, ice cream or whipped cream? And
The right answer is ice cream.
On peach, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cherry too. Almost all of the fruit pies. Now, pumpkin pie, whipped cream.
Yes.
But if we don't have whipped cream, I'll take ice cream. Yeah, those kind of things. See, they resonate with people, and even if they're not talking to you on the show, as they're driving in their car, they're ice cream. And all the contests that we did, we wanted them to be able to play along in the car. The person on the phone, that's great, and they get their $15 certificate at Taco John's. But can they be driving along and call out the answer and get a little celebration that they got it right? The next celebrity turning 40 today started out working at a car wash And then people, oh, well, is it Matt Damon or whatever? And then when they hear that they're right, it's a little mini celebration.
I will tell you, there are times when I was bringing my youngest to daycare and I had you guys on, and there was I think I had like a 3-day streak. I'm like, I should just call in. I got this. And then the fourth one came and I'm like, yep, nope, I'm going to just stay in the car right here.
Oops. Yeah. No, I put a lot of thought into that. They got to be able to play along, even if they aren't, because you got one person calling, you got 39,999 people not on the phone. But how do you keep them engaged? I put a lot of thought into that. The few times I've accidentally tuned in recently, I don't think thought is being given to them. Sorry, they didn't ask me. They could have. They could. You want me to consult? Forget it. Somebody said, if they came back to you, and this has been even 6 months ago, said, we want you back, I would say, do you still own it? And if the answer is yes, I'd say there is not enough money. My wife's like, there might be. If they said like 200,000, which of course would never happen. I said, well, then only if I do 100% remote work. I'm not setting foot in that building ever again.
So you say you do stuff for Prairie's Edge. Is that on the radio? That's fantastic.
Well, yeah, it is. Sure. So when speaking of Buck Cherry, I did the big promo for that, and I have to say, because again of my music background and directing background and the big picture, I feel like I'm really good at doing those concert type ones with clips of songs, because the music's got to match the beat and the next key. It can't be a train wreck. Like, I love doing those concert spots, and to hear that level, agency level production, that they have to sit and listen to me for 30 seconds. I'm happy to. But also, I've had a great relationship with Prairie's Edge for many years, and they, like I said, they had me come down, host the shows, let me see the shows. Terry Clark was the last one. That was really cool. I did that. I just sent them one for their New Year's Eve country classics, a tribute show on New Year's Eve of Reba and Dolly. Ooh. And I forget now, was there a George Strait maybe? All the country classics. And
how does that make you feel that your ad is on the radio and they have to play it, because I'm guessing Prairie's is a pretty big sponsor?
Well, yes. They are. I happen to know they're one of the biggest. And so, honestly, well, here it comes. I'm just going to say it. As soon as they let me go, I got a hold of them, and I told them what happened. I said, I just want you to know that I am, as we speak, day 2, setting up a studio. And I could certainly still write and produce them for you. Like, oh, thank goodness. Absolutely. Because you know us, you know our voice and our tone, you know what we like. Oh, yeah, we'd like to do that. And they said, well, send us rates. And so I said, well, the who's paying for my work? You or the radio station? Because I'm going to give different rate. Well, why wouldn't I? Yeah. I've had a relationship with Prairie's Edge for 25 years. I would charge them less if they're paying for me. Then I know that the station is not going to lose one of their top spenders over $500-600, production costs. So I just said, well, here's what the rate would be for the station. I don't owe anything to them. They put it, all of them there, even the ones that remain that I thought were friends, they don't owe anything to you. You never worked for them. Well, then here's your rate for my production, because they're going to get you to pay for it, because you're not going to want to lose them.
Yeah.
So there's an insider thing I never.
That's revealed. I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Why not? And those big concert ones, I charge a lot for those, and for good reason. They're time consuming. Gather up the music and make it all fit. They take way longer than, a typical, swipe your player's club card and you get a chance for the big Thursday night drawing. Those are important, but they're not as time consuming to create.
Do you do anything for Jackpot at all or no?
No, no, I did back in the day. I think they use an agency down there. They got good stuff. And honestly, I don't think I could. I don't think my conscience could. Again, 25 years with Prairie's Edge, probably more, because it was back when they were Firefly Creek Casino. I was doing some of their stuff. To say, hey, just so you know, I'm cutting some spots for Jackpot Junction's next concert. You know what? I couldn't do that. I wouldn't.
I enjoy going to the casino, I'm not gonna lie.
Sure. But I'm not gonna be Jackpot's voice now.
Yeah, no. I can see it. No, we enjoy going to both, but we like Prairie's because they got the Firefly Lounge.
Oh, yeah. And their recent expansion, which is now it's been 6 years, probably, and they've got that tap room, 2 stories, and the balcony that looks out over the setting sun. It's very nice, very cool, and I appreciate their not only their business but their friendship with a lot of the people in the promotions department over there.
Your real estate. Can you explain to me how you got your license and how you got into it?
All right, how long do we have here?
We're at 45. It looks like.
All right, just really quickly. It probably wasn't 3 or 4 days after all this news broke that, and I don't want to be the wrong idea. I like beer, and we were out, so I went to the liquor store. It's not, oh, Tim's already drinking 3 days after we got, but no, I was just picking up beer. And when I came out, I was just sort of admiring this little electric car. I'm like, what is this electric car here? I didn't even see who was in it. And he goes, morning, Tim. And I look up, and it was Tyler Hansen, who's now the manager broker for Edina Realty. Back in the day when he was a realtor like me, you remember he had a jingle, and he would work with me to create some really, like he said, it wasn't about real estate. They were about me and my family and fun scenario. We created a great campaign for him. So he knew me, and he's like, yeah, well, that sucks what they did. And I tell you what, all those people, at the time, it was probably 150,000 views on that video that I told explaining what happened. He said, there's no question everybody knows you. But on top of that, in this business, real estate, we know you, like you, and trust you, and you'll be a good realtor. He's like, everybody knows you, you're liked, everybody trusts you because you've been a community backer for so many decades, really. He said, I'd take you over at the brokerage immediately. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, thank you. Lovely thoughts, appreciate it. He said, well, think about it. Okay, I'll see you around. And then I talked to a college roommate who has been with Edina Realty for a few years, and I told him about that. And he's like, oh, absolutely. That broker's smart. He knows. And on the way home, we had met in Hutchinson, this college friend of mine. And on driving home, I just turned the radio off. XM at this point, mind you, not broadcast radio. But I just wanted silence, and driving along, I'm like, hey, they're right. He's right. I've already got a following of thousands. This could work. So I talked with him a little more. He convinced me, you can do this. So I spent all last summer of 24 right on this computer doing the online courses, which used to be you'd have to go into the Twin Cities to do it always. But since COVID, thank goodness, you could do it all online. Tests were proctored. I would go to the library, to take tests. I didn't pass it the first time. It's hard. It was hard. You just think, oh, you just go around and all cool houses. There's a lot of rules and regulations and stuff. It was hard, and I hadn't had to study or take a test at this point in my life for 40 years, probably 5 years. And oh my God, I'm back at school. And then when I finally passed, like, yes, I did it, and I joined. And then that was going right into winter last year, about this time. It was like late October when I started with them. And winter's always slow. Interest rates are climbing. So the decades-long veterans were having bad times. And now I'm here new. And there was not much going on. I started to get some showings then in February, March at least. And though two of those just closed. One of them this past Tuesday, and one of them Monday before that. I've been working with them since there was snow on the ground. And that's kind of where it is. They call it the pipeline. It takes time to find. I'm not going to lie. Here's another reveal. I just about bailed. 85% of new real estate agents don't make it a year. And I knew that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be one of them because I need to make money. And I miss radio. So that was another thing because I was still hanging on to that side of the pool, the radio. I'm like, well, this sucks anyway. And whatever, I'll let it go. And then when I finally came to that realization that radio that I knew doesn't exist. So if you can keep some of these creative projects like the network in Wisconsin and Prairie's Edge, and, to keep a little handle on that, I think you can make this work. And then when the offers started happening and the closings started happening, and I was terrified. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to mess up. And they're like, well, nothing that either you can't call. I'm getting more relaxed about when somebody says, we'll make an offer. I don't go, oh, shit. Okay, what? Help? Now I'm like, awesome. That's what we want. That's what we want to do, right? We want offers. So I believe I am not going to make the 1 year. Like I said, it'll be, 2 or 3 weeks when I started. So I will not be one of the 85%.
Nice. All right. Final question. Do you have any words of wisdom for people?
Never assume you're untouchable at work. And this goes for any line of work. And the number of people came, oh my gosh, that happened at my work. Oh, they came in and they said, yeah, everybody's fine. And then you're gone the next day. I even joked as I left that very afternoon with our chief engineer. We're like, well, this is the big day. I don't know, should I start collecting boxes? And we kind of laughed, and the engineer said, of all the people in this place, you'd be the last one that anybody with any brains would let go. He was on. He'd be the last one that would be let go. Like, the production, the on-air, you got the fans, you know engineering. Like, I set up a studio during COVID in 2 days in my home just by myself. He's like, you'd be the last one. Several said that. Oh, you'd be the last one. I'd be more worried about myself. And there I was the next day. So, yeah. Also, in my early days of radio, I always had a tape. In fact, here's one. Can you see? It says good stuff. This is a radio tape of my good breaks and production from the 80s. I'm not using it. So I got to the point where I don't need to keep a tape on hand. I don't need to keep a demo. I haven't updated my resume in 15, 20 years. Just in case, keep the resume fresh, and whatever it is that you do for work, if you need evidence of it, keep that current. Like in my case, I basically had to kind of fake some breaks for voice tracking demos. And I told them, I said, hey, I was let go so quickly. First of all, if there were any recordings, I immediately lost access to them. Yeah. I couldn't even remote in and get my audio that I had. So never assume that you're untouchable. Be ready with a fresh resume and demos if that's the case, or photos of your work if you're a carpenter, that kind of thing. That's my wisdom. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, telling some stories. Where can people find you? Social media.
Oh yeah. Facebook.com/Tim Burns Creative. And give me a follow. A lot of people do already. And as far as real estate, edinarealty.com/Tim Burns Realtor. And I think there's a dash between each one, but Tim Burns at edinarealty.com. Yeah. And Facebook, of course.
Everyone's on Facebook.
You'll find me. Oh, by the way, if I can, come to the show I'm promoting on October 11th, the Fabulous Armadillos. What's going on? Vietnam era. You can cut me off if you want. This is becoming too commercial, but
oh no, go for it. You go do your run.
When you say, what are you doing? Well, last December I brought Kat Perkins to town for her Christmas concert. Because my wife, I interviewed Kat, and she said, I want to come back to Wilmer for Christmas. My wife says, why don't you bring her back? Okay. So then the Fabulous Armadillos, we saw what you did for Kat, and we want to play in Wilmer. Would you do that for us? So it's me, right? And I always beg people, when you see these posts, at least give a like or a heart. The hearts are better. You need to understand that they won't just automatically show it to everybody unless people start engaging with it, and whether you plan to come or not. And whether it's for my concert, the Fabulous Armadillos, or a boutique or a plumber, give them a like, give them a love, make a comment, because then Facebook goes, oh, it's getting some action. We'll show it to more people, right? So help me out with that, because I can't believe the show is not sold out yet. I cannot believe it. The main floor is. But October 11th. And on that, fabulousarmadillos.com, they've got a shows link. You'll see Wilmer. Or I've got a bunch of posts on it on my Facebook page. They're so good. It's classic rock and roll plus stories, and they're bringing in a giant LED wall for visuals, and I'm coordinating all of that, and I set up the ticketing. Help a guy out, share those, love it, comment, and buy the tickets. I mean, it's nearly 80% sold out, so I'm happy with that, but we're down to 9 days as of the time we record this. Don't want
Perfect. Where is it at again?
The WEAC.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is a great place. There's not a bad seat. So really the upper third of the balcony has a lot of seats up there. They're all good. And I've even, what would have been the lowest tier of the last few rows of the balcony, I've kind of extended that down. So it's affordable, and you're not going to regret it. My Facebook, or go to fabulousarmadillos.com and click shows, find the October 11 Wilmer show. I got to write them a check before they go on stage. So let's sell it out. We're
awesome.
we're in the black, but we also, there's insurance to pay and meals to provide the evening for the band. Help me out.
Perfect. Again, Tim, I appreciate you coming on. Again, telling nice stories. I'll for surely catch you down the street when you're walking your dogs. Don't worry. I'll find you.
Yeah. Holler out sometime. Although, if you do, I'll probably curse you. It's like, well, now you've upset the dogs. Now they're going to bark. Catch me, I don't know, down at Intuition sometime. We can't bring the dogs there.
Ooh, that's a great place.
Oh, yeah.
It's right down the block.
It is. That's why we bought our house where we did. Literally 10 years ago, Foxhole opened about the same time we moved. And we're like, hey, we could walk down and walk home. I like this. True story. I'll buy it. One.
Perfect.
After I sell the next house.
When will that be?
Well, I
already have a house.
Contract. I've got one under contract. We're supposed to close on Halloween. That'd be my third sale.
Ooh,
in 2 months. So
scary.
Woo.
Is it here in town?
Huh?
Here in town?
Yeah. In fact, in our hood. I can't say where. A little privacy, is what.
It's got to be.
Great little house, and I'm very happy for the gal that's buying it, because she needs a cool place that she loves, and she does. It was one of those, walked in and went, I'm like, well, we better look at all of it first, you know. So I'm very happy. You know, of course, all the financing has to go through and all of that, but
Yeah.
it's looking good.
Diving deep into lives, the extraordinary ones. Firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Break it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passions, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. From sirens wailing to keys softly chiming. Stories to inspire the moments we're finding. Ooh, from the mundane to the sublime we unwind. Oh, what makes them tick? What's on their mind? Diving deep into lives, the extraordinary ones. Firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Breaking it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. On those who dare to live life a little differently. Each episode a new discovery. Unearthing lives full of mystery. The Break It Down podcast.